have a feeling that majority of you guys are going to see this opening trick for the very first time. Guys, when you think about it, I'm here to make your chess journey interesting, which is why you have all the reasons to subscribe to my channel and also hit the like button. So first, let's start with the Italian version of this uncommon trick before I show you the Petrov line that you can play against anyone and make a quick draw or win the game at best. So first line, this is where you start with the bishop's opening. Then as always, most of your opponents will play knight to f6, which is the top played move in the Lichess database and also in the Masters database. You can check that at your own free time, but this is what your opponents will play, attacking your undefended pawn on e4. So you have to defend it with knight c3, right? Nah, this is where you surprise your opponent with the move knight to f3. Ah, Casper, we've seen this before. Kind of the reverse Therfore. Oh, the bottom kits are risky again. Nope. Though the idea is still the same, you wait for black to take your e4 pawn, which is free, and this time instead of playing knight c3, going into the bottom it's a risky gambit. You simply go knight takes e5, taking back the pawn immediately. But when you look at this position, this comes with a double threat on the f7 square. So black needs to be very careful. For example, most black players play pawn to d5 here because what else can they do? Now in classical tournaments, you'd want to play bishop e2, a theoretical line in this variation. But speaking of my elbow gambits, you know the move I would recommend in this position? Yep, knight takes f7. You are simply double attacking the queen and the rook on h8. By the way, this is very much playable in blitz, bullet, and even rapid matches. I wouldn't recommend to play this in a longer time control match or against a very experienced chess player. Anyway, black will obviously take your free knight because what else? But this normal looking move by black turns out to be a positional mistake somehow because it allows you to go queen h5 check, and worse off if they play pawn to g6, which is the top played move. All of a sudden, you are the one with a better position, better pawn structure, and the only one with a lead in development. For example, you can go queen takes d5, and on the next move you win black's knight on e4. And yes, material is equal, but in this position you just emerged with 2 extra pawns for the end game, which is suffice to win the game. Guys, I can assure you to say this will happen to you like 90% of the times, but not so fast. Let's see the best that black can do to give you a little bit of hell. I mean, after you sacrifice your knight on f7 back on move 5, if black knows exactly what he is doing, or if he's using stockfish, he is going to find this intermediate move queen f6. Once they play queen f6, it is time to work for your meal because now things are a little bit bad. Don't castle short in this line because black is going to take back on f7 with the queen, and you'll be very much behind in development, plus continuing to play the rest of the game while being down a piece. So the best move in this position is queen f3. You counterattack the queen so that if queen takes, you take back with your b pawn, which comes with an attack on the knight. This is how the line goes. They will take your bishop, and at least you can walk away with a bigger piece. You know, at least being up a rook, even though you're going to be down a piece. They'll play knight g5, wanting to take your pawn. And here I wouldn't mind to play king e2 if I were you, but the line is pawn to d3, allowing this to happen so that you can put your king on e2 now. It's not much of a stretch. They will go knight d4 check, and this is when you play king d2 because you want to take black's pawn with the king like this. For example, if c takes d3, you take with your king. So you're playing with your king on the center. You're going to develop your dark squared bishop, your knight, and at worst you want your knight to die like this, forcing black to double up his pawns along the king side. So this is just how you can continue playing in case black tries to play like stockfish, and in blitz or rapid, this is very much playable. Alright, once again after e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, and knight to f3, it's not every time you're going to see black taking your undefended pawn on e4, I mean for free. Sometimes they play knight to c6. In fact, sometimes they don't just want to take this pawn because they're trying to avoid some traps, or maybe they are not sure what you're up to. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are back into the two knights defense, where black develops two of his knights by move number 3. This is like beginning with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight to f6, which is the same position that you are seeing on the board right now. Anyway, even against this, I recommend you go knight g5 as if you want to play the fried liver attack, right? Because obviously black is going to play pawn to d5 and then you take. They are more likely going to take back. But hey, once again, I don't want to repeat content. I have plenty of videos on the fried liver attack. You can check them out in the comment section down below and just leave a thank you message to let me know if I'm doing the right thing for you guys. Anyway, do you know that you can also play a different move that probably you have never seen before with your own eyeballs? Queen f3. Ladies and gentlemen, you are simply sacrificing your knight on g5 temporarily, and if black doesn't take advantage of that, for example, if they play something else like this, thinking they're attacking your queen, that will hang mate in 1 like this. I'm not here to show you this, I'm too good for this. You will see most of your opponents taking your free knight on g5, but this is when you simply take their knight on d4. And once again, look at what most black players play. I don't know why, but bishop e6, look at these guys. Straight from the Leech's database, bishop e6 turns out to be a big blunder because you can just simply take on c6 with check, and again over 100,000 people take back on c6 with their b-pawn, allowing you to go queen takes c6 check, and on the next move win their rook on a8. Like for real, I'm not making up these stuff. So why am I showing you these lines if I wouldn't recommend to try them in classical games? First of all, these are openings that you play to gain experience in chess, and secondly, just for your own exposure. Anyway, let's look at something else that black can do apart from playing bishop e6. Well, they will try knight d4, but once again, knight d4 turns out to be a blunder or a mistake because of queen takes f7 check, and king d8 is the only move. And rather than caring about your c2 pawn and your rook, this is when you just go ahead and castle shot, securing your king, because if they take on c2, you have plenty of things to do that may lead to a quick checkmate if black is not careful. But this is the only part you want to memorize if need be. You don't want to go pawn to d4. I mean, pawn to d4 directly attacks the queen on g5, but at the same time gives black more time to play queen f5, forcing a queen exchange, which is not good for your eyeballs, because once you exchange queens in this line, you are dead. I mean, black is just one move away from capturing your free rook on a1. So you don't want to allow queen f5. That's why pawn to d4 is not a good move in this particular line, which you need to memorize. The move you need to play first of all is bishop e4, stopping queen f5. You don't want to exchange queens. If they play this, you have all the time in this world to play queen h5 or even queen c4, whatever. You don't just want to exchange queens. Anyways, bishop e4 also attacks black's knight on c2, so they are going to take your rook on a1, and this is when you want to play pawn to d4, paving way for your dark squared bishop. And you can see that this time black can't play queen f5 or queen g6 to force a queen exchange. They'll play something like queen e7 or queen f6, it doesn't matter, but the move you want to play is queen h5, threatening to go bishop g5 next, pinning the queen to the king. If they play g6 to stop that, well, you can simply sacrifice your light squared bishop, because if they take, you're gonna take their rook. And if you think it is easy for black to rescue his knight, well, it's not that easy. For example, if they go knight c2 in this position, black will give you more time to develop your other pieces that are not into the game, like bishop h6, forcing their king to protect the bishop, and then you have more time to go knight c3, intending to go knight d5. If they play bishop e6, trying to stop that, you have pawn to d5, chasing that bishop away, and then you can even make a clearance sacrifice here. After they take, you now go knight d5. I mean, there are so many threats. You want to go knight c7 check first before taking the bishop. It's not that easy for black to solve. And when you put this on Stockfish, white is slightly better. This is just to show you how difficult it is for black to rescue his knight. If they don't do that, for example, instead of playing knight c2, let's say they try to exchange queens. Well, here you can just go queen h4 check. You don't want to exchange queens, remember. If bishop e7, blocking the check, once again, you can just go bishop g5, putting more pressure on this diagonal. If knight c2, again, you can just find your way to confuse the enemy like this. Let's say queen takes, you play rook d1, you have so many open lines. Let's say bishop d7, you simplify the game like this. And then you go queen h8 check. First of all, look at this knight, which is about to die. Let's say black plays this, the only move. This is when you can go queen c3 and black's knight cannot escape from Sobibo once again. So it is just too difficult for black to rescue his knight even in this line. Yeah, queen e2 looks good, but you have rook c1. If bishop f5, you have knight a3, putting more pressure on this knight. If they take, thinking they are clever, yes, you only have 2 pieces, but looking at the position of the king, these 2 pieces are enough to end the game. For example, beginning with rook e1, what else can black do? His knight is under attack, the queen is under attack. If they save their queen, trying to exchange, you can just go queen f6 check and find the right time to kill black's queen. You guys, it's not about the number of pieces that your opponent has, it's about the number of active pieces that your opponent has. For example, even if black remained with 3 pieces in this position, Stockfish still thinks white is better because black's rook on a8 is out of the game, first of all, and his pieces are not well coordinated. The knight is just on its own. We can always attack the light squared bishop. The king is very exposed. So this is just how good white's position is. Now, before I end this video, I would love to show you a very important trap that also happens in the Russian game or the Petrov, which is called the white quick on the draw. Guys, this is one trap that you can try out even against grandmasters, international masters, or any other strong player out there when you just want to play for a quick draw. So the opening starts as a normal Russian game where black is copying everything that white is trying to do, but instead of taking on e5 like what everybody does, you can turn the tables around by playing pawn to d4, a very unique move, allowing black to take your free pawn on e4. By the way, I also recommend this line in real OTB classical games or tournament games. This works like magic. After this, you want to take on e5, but first of all, you want to develop a piece in a way of attacking a misplaced piece of your opponent. Knight to f6 is not good because we can simply take and it is us who are ahead in development. For example, if they play queen e7, we can just go ahead and castle shot. If knight d5, we can just go knight g5 and let's say h6. We even have queen h5, by the way. Look at this beautiful combination. If h takes g5, you simply win the rook and there is no problem. If black plays pawn to g6, you can just go ahead and sacrifice your bishop. If they take, you can take back with check. And if king e7, this is gonna be met in one. And let's say if black plays queen e7 instead of pawn to g6, you can still sacrifice your knight like this, because if they take back, you have bishop g6 pinning the queen to the king. This is all in the Russian game, guys. That's why I like this line and you should start playing it as well. So that's why knight back to f6 by black is not good because of this line. So you're going to see most of your opponents playing pawn to d5 instead of retreating their knight. And now that black's knight is defended, this is when you want to take on e5. And believe it or not, your knight is safe. If pawn to f6, you already know this famous trick. Once again, you're going to win black's rook on h8, so they better not do that. The move they always play is knight d7, trying to get rid of your knight, but it is here where you can claim a quick draw, theoretically speaking, beginning with the move knight takes f7. So you see this knight sacrifice on f7 once again, forcing their king to take, and then you go queen h5 check, and as per theory, black has to play king e7, and then you go queen e2. Again, they play king f7, you go queen h5 check. Again, they play king e7, you go queen e2. I'm not even joking, guys. Look at these stats. This is what masters play if they just want to make a quick draw. You can see all these draws right here. Like, there is no hope for continuity. If black tries to do something else, he may end up losing this game or accepting to be behind in development. For example, if black tries to play something else like knight f6, you can go pawn to f3, trying to get back your piece. If bishop e6, you just take that piece and simplify the game like this. Oversimplifying the game, you are going to remain with the pawn on the center of the board. They'll play something like queen d5, because what else can they do to gain back the advantage? And here you can just take back, you take. Oversimplifying issues. Look at the pawn structure. This is very boring, and if there's anyone playing for a win here, it is white because of this extra pawn on d4. Ladies and gentlemen, my courses are still on promotion. You can check them out at www.kasperchess.com and get yours today before the prices go up. I highly recommend that you get my Gyoko Pianissimo course, because many people seem to like it due to how I presented it in the most simplest way. It's not just about advertising, but also saving your time when it comes to studying the game that you love. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Let me know in the comment section if at all you did, and remember to subscribe to my channel so that you can help others discover this channel. Hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye bye.